We just getting started, baby. Did anybody see what Mr. Wardell Steph Curry did to the Portland Trailblazers? They were nobodies. They beat the Giants. Trash. They beat the Broncos. Trash. If you ever watched Dragon Ball Z, my man's was Super Saiyan. I couldn't wear this until we actually caught a dub. And he did all of this damage in 36 minutes. Let that sink in. They beat the Eagles, trash. The Cowboys, trash. The Bengals, trash. The Jaguars, trash. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here on Rob's 2 Cents. My good people, my good people. Hello, world. I'd like to welcome you guys back to the show that's hot with your boy Rob Scott. This is Rob's 2 Cents, baby. What's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's good. Hope everybody enjoyed their weekend and feeling relaxed and recharged and ready for the new week. Man, we had an action-packed weekend of sports this past weekend, y'all. I mean, from UFC to news and boxing, USA basketball, and of course the NBA Finals. And we're going to get into all of that, man. Hope you guys enjoying your Monday. I know this is going to be Tuesday when most of you are watching it, and probably Wednesday for my viewers that's watching on Roku, which is going to be the next day, or next evening that the NBA Finals is going to be played. We're going to be going into Game 4. It's been an action-packed finals, breath of fresh air, seeing new teams, new competitors, and can Chris Paul get the ring? We have so many new storylines leading into Game 4. I mean, it's just been crazy. But before we start, I got to give you guys updates on what's going on, man. Getting ready to go into gear with my job with these trade shows, man. But I'm gonna try to stay on top of everything. So many big things happening. Will Aaron Rodgers be in Green Bay when the NFL season starts? So many questions that we're gonna get answered in the upcoming weeks. But what we got to do. We got to go right into the NBA Finals because it's been action packed. So, all my good people out there, if you're watching this in the morning, be safe out there on the roads. Hope you enjoy this show for your early morning commute. And if you're watching it in the evening time, hope you kick your feet back, sit back, relax, grab you a drink, and everybody come tune in for the hottest sports conversation in the nation. Because let me tell you guys something about the NBA Finals. Now, a lot of people have been complaining. Oh, LeBron's not in the finals. KD's not in the final. Steph is not in the finals. Would you just shut up and enjoy the beautiful basketball that we've been seeing being played so far? Giannis stepping up. Chris Paul stepping up. Devin Booker was stepping up. And we're going to talk about more of that shortly. But right now, we're going to be going into Game 4 on Wednesdays of this current NBA Finals between the Bucks and the Suns. Right now, the Suns are up 2-1. Bucks have kind of grabbed the momentum going back into Milwaukee in Game 3, looking to to build on that momentum in Game 4. But as you guys know, I like to talk about the road travel. So we got to go back into these games to see how have we, what has led up until now in the NBA Finals. If we look at Game 1, going to my trusty laptop, you might see the glare on my glasses. I apologize about that. It's a bright little laptop. But going into Game 1, the Phoenix Suns came out to make a statement, of course, playing in Phoenix. The NBA Finals hasn't been hosted in Phoenix since 1974 and hasn't been hosted in Phoenix since 1993 when the Chicago Bulls defeated the Phoenix Suns in the NBA Finals. When Charles Barkley and Dan Marley and those boys tried to beat the Bulls, but we know at that time that was an unstoppable feat. It just wasn't going to happen. It was an impossible feat. Michael Jordan undefeated in the finals, but you guys already know his story. So once again, Phoenix gets to host Game 1 of the NBA Finals. And let me guys tell you something. Phoenix came out and they made a statement. I mean, they pretty much took over the game. Had a little bit of a slower start, but got cooking around that second quarter. Devin Booker held them down in the first. Chris Paul held them down in the third, going back and forth, putting those big men on Milwaukee just in crazy situations. Why are you leaving Brook Lopez on the island with Chris Paul? Why are you leaving Bobby Portis on the island with Devin Booker? I mean, Chris Paul and Devin Booker played that pick and roll game with DeAndre Ayton to perfection. Chris Paul on the game, as they call him, close out Chris. But the point guard showed up, you guys. Chris Paul scored 32 points in that game. Just getting to wherever he wanted to on the court. He was 12 of 19 in game one. 4-7 from the three-point line. Chris Paul just doing what CP3 does. Gets his 9 assists. Gets his 4 rebounds. Only had 2 turnovers. Gets you a steal. Devin Booker trying to find his shot. Got into a little bit of a rhythm. Had 27 points. He was 8 of 21 from the field, but he was 1 of 8 from the three-point line. And this has kind of been the trend for Devin Booker. As you know, he's not the best three-point shooter in the world, more of a mid-range type of guy, but he can stretch his range if need be. And then, of course, the big man, DeAndre Ayton. Beast mode. 22 points, 17 rebounds, 8 of 10 shoot. 6 of 6 from the free throw line. And I got to mention that Devin Booker was 10 of 10. Chris Paul was 4 of 4. DeAndre Ayton 6 of 6. Your big three stepping up when it matters. Game one. Sending a statement to Milwaukee. Let me tell you guys something. Phoenix just had complete control of that game. Now, Giannis, who was questionable for playing in this game, remember, he had just injured his knee in Game 5 against the Atlanta Hawks in that series in the Eastern Conference Finals. Missed Game 6 and Game 7, but his team stood up and was able to overcome the hump and get the Bucks to the NBA Finals. Giannis said, I'm not missing the finals. Came out even on the bum knee, looked good. Giannis stepped up big, had 20 points. He was 6 of 11 from the field, 1 or 2 from the three-point line, not shooting many threes, which is a good sign because that means Giannis understands where he gets his bread and butter from, where he gets his money from, and that's in the paint. Gave you 17 rebounds, gave you 2 steals, gave you 1 block, gave you 4 assists. Chris Middleton actually showed up in game 1. 12 of 6. 5 of 12 from the, he had 29 points. He was 12 of 26 from the field and 5 of 12 from the three-point line. No Drew Holiday, though. Drew Holiday had a horrendous game. Only gave you 10 points. You're going to need more than that from your point guard. That's not what they paid you for, Drew. They paid you to come get buckets. They paid you to come stick defense, being one of the better two-way players in the league. Could give it to a team on both ends of the ball. Was 4 of 14 from the field. 0 of 4 from the three-point line. Just horrendous. He still gave you 9 assists, but Chris Paul just had his way with that team. And it was just too much of Phoenix in game 1, as I mentioned before. Final score being 118 to 105. They just broke out and just destroyed this team. Phoenix won all the first 3 quarters and only lost by 3 points in the fourth quarter when they only scored 26 points as a team and Milwaukee was able to score 29. As I mentioned before, Phoenix just controlled this game. And then we got to go to game 2, where Phoenix will once again stand up and make a statement at home and keep control of the home court advantage as they'll win this by 10 points, 118 to 108. Chris Paul, yet again, comes out, goes to work. He gives you 23 points, shoots 50% from the field, 10 of 20 from the field. Shoots 60% from the three-point line, 3 of 5 from the three-point line. Gives you 8 assists. But man, had a lot of turnovers that game. Very unlike Chris Paul. 6 turnovers in the game. Not very point guard like, but did enough to get the job done. But Devin Booker showed up and he showed out, going on a 3-point barrage because he gave you 31 points and he was 12 or 25 from the field, but that's not the magic number. He was 7 or 12 from the 3-point line. Didn't I just say he can stretch out that team if he needs to? That he can stretch out his shooting if he needs to? Shooting some deep ones. Shooting some all the way back from Tucson, Arizona. I mean, the man was out there going to work. We look at DeAndre Ayton, he has to give you more than what he did. 10 points. He was 4-10 from the field. He gave you 11 rebounds and 2 blocks and 3 steals, but you expect more from DeAndre Ayton being the third player in this big three formed in Phoenix. But every time in the finals, there's somebody that comes out and steps out. Players begin to step up. And Mikal Bridges showed up for game 2. He scored 27 points, 8 of 15, my birthday, from the field. 3 of 9 from the 3-point line. Gave you 7 rebounds. Gave you a steal. Only had 1 turnover. Even Jay Crowder chipped in 4 of 8 from the field, 3 of 5 from the 3-point line, and gave you 10 rebounds to go with his 11 points. Mind you, in game 1, he couldn't hit a shot. Or 8 from the field, or 5 from the 3-point line. Only gave you 1 point in game 1, but Jay Crowder said, hey, shooters keep shooting. And that's exactly what he did. But man, let me tell y'all about Giannis, man. And the thing with the Milwaukee Bucks, you look at them and say, if somebody shows up to the dance with Giannis, it's going to be a great party. Because Giannis gave you 42 points on 15 of 22 from the field. Even though he shot a little bit more threes than I wanted him to, he was 1 of 5 from the 3-point line. He gave you 15 to 22. He was even 11 to 18 from the free throw line. And we know Giannis is a horrendous free throw shooter. He gave you 12 rebounds, only 3 turnovers, giving you 3 blocks with 4 assists and 1 steal. Giannis was everywhere. And of those 12 rebounds, 4 of them was offensive. Just realizing he is a beast in the paint. As I mentioned on the Rewind Sports 60 show yesterday with Brother Jerry Rouse and Brother Dan Marvelous, we need to put out an APB for Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton because they once again went missing. Drew Holiday gave you 17 points, but he took 21 shots to do so. 7 to 21 from the field. And Chris Middleton, 5 of 16, 1 of 6 from the 3-point line. That's supposed to be your shooter. Calling Drew Holiday, calling Chris Middleton, please report to the office. Shame on them for not stepping up in the biggest games of their lives. Whew. Now, this is where things get interesting because we're going into game 3. Phoenix owns the home court advantage, winning both of their games at home. But it didn't happen without a loss because they lost Sarge. And as we know, Sarge, he's a great player. Dario Sarge is a great player off the bench. He was giving them that big man that they were missing when DeAndre Ayton goes down, when he has to sit down either due to foul trouble or due to rest. Now you lose Dario Sarge. Then you lost him in game 1. Then in game 2, at the end of the third quarter, we thought we lost Torrey Craig. Giannis runs right into him. He's taking the charge, knee to knee. Knee looked like it buckled pretty bad. And he looked like he was going to be out for the rest of the series as well, as we found out with Dario. He has a torn ACL. He got injured in the first quarter in game 1. So now you don't have another big man. Your next biggest person off the bench is Frank Kaminsky. And what is Kaminsky really going to do? Kaminsky, he's normally used to seeing garbage time in the NBA. And now a lot is going to be placed on his shoulders. Now you're going to be asking DeAndre Ayton to play extended minutes. Mind you, after losing Sarge in game one, DeAndre Ayton comes out and plays 42 minutes in game two. That's a lot of minutes for your big man to play. Luckily for them, he was able to stay out of foul trouble in game two. But that was not the case in game three. Because then we look at game three, they go back home, and Giannis decides he wants to act a fool. Giannis decides he wants to show you the freak in the name of Greek freak. Because he had a freakish game. Because the Bucks will come out and just destroy the Phoenix Suns 120-100 going back home. Giannis Antetokounmpo, a.k.a. the Greek Freak, decides he wants to have a back-to-back 40-point game. Gives you 41 points on 14-23 shooting from the field. 13-17 from the free throw line. Gives you 13 rebounds, 4 of them offensive. Gives you 6 assists and 1 steal and only 1 turnover. Giannis Antetokounmpo, a.k.a. the Greek Freak. That boy cold. Had some help today. Drew Holiday decided to show up to the party. He shoots 21 points. 8 of 14 from the field, 5 of 10 from the three-point line, along with 9 assists and 5 rebounds. Chris Middleton still trying to find his shot. 6 of 14 from the field, 3 of 7 from the three-point line, but he gives you 7 rebounds and 6 assists with 1 steal. Milwaukee shows up. Bobby Portis gives you 11 off the bench along with 8 rebounds. Milwaukee showed up, led by the Greek Freak, Giannis. And then you look on Phoenix side of the ball, where did Devin Booker go? Chris Paul gave you 19 and 9 assists off 8 of 14 shooting from the field. But Devin Booker, 10 points, 3 of 14 from the field, 1 of 7 from the three-point line. Now, everybody's entitled to have a bad game. But a lot of people were already ready to start comparing this man to Kobe Bryant. And I just wanted people to slow down for a second. Because Devin Booker has a lot to prove before we start comparing him to players like the Black Mamba. Don't get me wrong, Devin Booker is a great young player, and I see him winning championships and MVPs before it's all said and done in his NBA career. But let's not just start comparing people to Kobe. That's out of bounds. But as I mentioned on the Rewind Sports 60 yesterday, if the Milwaukee Bucks wants to beat the Phoenix Suns, they're going to have to beat them up on the inside. You don't have Dario Saric. You don't have, well, you had Torrey Craig, but he didn't play like himself. You could tell that he was hurt. And he's just a forward. He's not really that big. Giannis had to beat them up on the inside. Get DeAndre Ayton in foul trouble. He picked up 4 fouls in 3 quarters. Had to sit down. And that's when Milwaukee went on that run. Finally, Coach Bud said, I am bigger. We have a team that's bigger than Phoenix. Let's beat them up in the paint. Milwaukee finally looked like the team that I picked to make it to the NBA Finals. That I picked to beat the Brooklyn Nets before the injuries happened. Milwaukee finally showed up. Now, Giannis, as I mentioned, showed up in both Game 2 and Game 3. Back-to-back 40-point games. Gives you 42 in Game 2. Gives you 41 in Game 3. And now we looking at Game 4, which is once again going to be in Milwaukee. That crowd was loud. That crowd was raucous. I mean, they were shooting fireworks at the end of the game. Remember, a game hasn't been played in Milwaukee in the NBA Finals since 1974. Hasn't been won in Milwaukee since 1971 when Oscar Robertson and the great captain Kareem Abdul-Jabbar won that ring for that franchise. Game 4 is a must-win for Phoenix. In my eyes, you don't want to go back to Phoenix tied. You want to leave some type of doubt in their mind that Giannis cannot just come out and dominate you. And if you are going to let Giannis dominate, you cannot allow the others to come help. DeAndre Ayton has to stay out of foul trouble. Phoenix is not going to get any bigger by Wednesday. I got Phoenix winning in a close game in game 4. And they're going to go home and they're going to celebrate their ring. Because I'm going to keep my prediction of Phoenix winning in 5. But if you let Giannis go crazy, like he just went crazy in these past 2 games, then Phoenix, you are in trouble. That's been Rob's 2 cents on the NBA Finals. And that wasn't the only exciting things we seen on Saturday. We saw a great fight on Saturday. No, I won't call it a great fight. They didn't fight long enough for it to be a great fight. But we saw a great rivalry, I think, almost come to an end. Because if we look on Saturday in the world of USC, in the world of MMA, Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier 3 took place. Now, remember in the first fight, McGregor won in the first round. Remember, he predicted it, said he was going to knock him out in the first round. This was back in September of 2014. They put on a great fight. Came out swinging, came out blasting. And I just remember towards the end of that fight, McGregor walked him down. And he caught him, as he was walking him down, he was talking a little trash. And it looked like he swung a left and it grazed him. But it looks like he grazed the back of his ear and even caught him a little bit with the bow. We saw Poirier go down. We then saw McGregor come with the hammer fist right on top of it again at the back of the ear, towards the back of the head. Didn't get back up. Gave him 2 more hammer fists to the jaw. Referee calls the fight. McGregor wins fight 1 in dramatic fashion. And then we go to fight 2. In fight 2, Poirier switched up his stand. Now, this was back in January of this year. Poirier came out more aggressive, looked to do more takedowns of McGregor, looked to bring the fight to McGregor, and that's exactly what he did, surviving that first round, showing McGregor he can withstand his punches, giving him those calf kicks, which I think softened McGregor up. If you guys remember, I spoke about this fight on Rob's 2 cents. Those calf kicks were ridiculous. They said McGregor had to leave out of the arena wearing crutches, focusing on that calf, bringing that jab. And he caught McGregor with a nice flurry of punches. And as McGregor was back pacing, trying to get out of, target range, out of the strike zone for the punch, Poirier caught him with a nice straight right flush to the face. Knocks McGregor on his ass. Ground and pound. Poirier, your winner in the second round in fight 2. Now, leading up to this fight, McGregor had been getting personal with Poirier. Talking about his wife, talking about him as a fighter, talking about he wasn't even thinking about Poirier in the second fight. He was looking past him, so he hasn't done anything in the world of UFC. Poirier taking it like a champ, keeping it clean, keeping it professional. Say, when I see you in this octagon, player, it's on. And it was on because Poirier came out aggressive. Poirier came out like he wanted to fight, taking down McGregor, hitting him with the ground and pound. He mentioned that McGregor was trying to put his fingers in his glove so that he can hit him with those up kicks. As you guys know, up kicks are when a fighter's flat on his back and he's trying to avoid the ground and pound, so he just kicks upward to keep you back. I've seen fighters get knocked out from an up kick. Poirier able to keep his composure. And as he complained to the referee, McGregor was able to jump back up on his feet. But the fight took a turn for the worse. As McGregor was back pacing, trying to escape another one of Poirier's flurries, He stepped back awkwardly on his leg. His ankle folded up from his weight, and he actually broke his leg in the fight. The fight was over after the first round due to doctor stoppage. Dustin Poirier, being the great sportsman that he is, wishes nothing but health for McGregor. So he wants him to get back to his family. He called him a dirtbag, but that's because Conor McGregor's a dirtbag. I mean, some of the things that he was saying about his wife, I applaud Dustin Poirier for keeping it professional throughout everything, because that would have been a real fight, bro. Like, just my wife has nothing to do with this fight, and you calling out her name, it's real childish, Conor. And even in defeat, Conor was laying there on the ground, getting interviewed, still talking out the side of his neck, saying that this fight ain't over, saying he wants to see Dustin Poirier again when he gets healthy, still calling his wife out of her name. I don't want to mention the names that he called her. Saying that, if she's ready to party with the real man, meet him at the night. I'm just like, man, Conor, that's ridiculous. Now, Poirier, according to him, he said he's done. He's proven what he's needed to prove. He's 2-1 against McGregor, against the notorious one. They called Dustin Poirier the diamond, and he definitely shined bright like a diamond in fight 2 and fight 3. As for McGregor, he hasn't really looked the same to me since the Mayweather loss. Definitely because he came up on so much money. I mean, he got $70 million to $100 million in that fight. Then he sells his stock, majority of his stock in the liquor company that he created, where he still keeps, I believe, like 20 or 30% of his ownership within this company. Sells 70% of the company for like over $200-400 million. He doesn't have the same aggressiveness that a broke fighter would have, an up-and-coming fighter would have. And you can tell the difference from fight 1 to fight 2. McGregor's now a big name. He brings in pay-per-view buys. People want to just watch him fight. Whether it's to watch him win or to watch him lose, he has captured the attention of the MMA audience and even brought in new fans to this MMA game. But sometimes you have to have a little class. And McGregor sometimes teeter-totters on that. I understand you're trying to sell a fight, but let's keep it fighting. Let's not be so personal all the time. And, he paid the ultimate price for that. Karma is the gift that keeps on giving. He breaks his leg in round 1 at the end of the first round. The doctor has to stop the fight. Poirier said he's done with him. But after hearing the names that McGregor called his wife again, I wouldn't be surprised if these guys, lace him up one more time and go at it. This was a great trilogy, a great rivalry that we hope to see one more fight from. I'll pay to watch Dustin Poirier versus McGregor one more time. And speaking of one more time, we thought we was going to see Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder one more time in the world of boxing, but it has come to our attention and to the attention of the media that 9 people, including Tyson Fury himself, has tested positive for COVID-19 in the Fury camp. So now this fight has been postponed. We were anticipating fight 3. As I mentioned before, I know you guys hate to hear me talk about these heavyweights, but it was just such an exciting fight, especially that first fight in which Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury just went back at it all 12 rounds. Deontay Wilder catching him with that power left in the 12th round. We thought it was over with for Tyson Fury. I mean, if you guys go back and look at video footage of Tyson Fury laying there on the ground, he was out for the count. It looked like he was going to have to grab some smelling salt to try to wake this guy up. The referee gets to like the 8 count, and this guy pops up like the Undertaker and is ready to fight and continues to fight through the end of the 12th with the round coming to a draw, with the fight coming to a draw in their first fight. So both, Wilder's undefeated streak at that point was still intact as the fight came to a draw. We go to that second fight, if we remember, was in February of last year, And Tyson Fury just went out there, puts on a boxing clinic against Deontay Wilder. As I've always mentioned before, Wilder is a fighter. Tyson Fury is a boxer. And he just outboxed this man, outclassed this man in a boxing match, getting knockdowns in the fifth round, getting knockdowns in the third round, and just was putting on a barrage of punches until the referee had to end it in the seventh. He couldn't go. His own trainer threw the towel in. Remember, Wilder was almost ready to threaten to fire his trainers. He said, "Do not throw the towel in." He felt that they threw the towel in prematurely. But when you're bleeding from the ear, we don't know if your eardrum is busted. We don't even know if you have your equilibrium at this moment. Yeah, we're trying to save not just your career, your life. Luckily, he didn't fire his trainer. He invokes his rematch clause that was in that contract. So instead of seeing the Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury fight that we were also anticipating to see if we are going to finally have a unified heavyweight champion, an undisputed heavyweight champion, we now have to throw Deontay Wilder back in for him to get his rematch. It was scheduled for July 24th. Fight has now been postponed due to Fury and his camp contracting the COVID-19 virus. They've already reached out to ticket holders to tell them that the fight has been postponed. And they were thinking about October 9th. But in the clause, it says that they can't have a fighter no later than September 15th of this year. So we're going to be keeping our eyes on what's going to be happening with this Fury versus Wilder Part 3. Because we're ready to see it. And last but not least, before I let you guys get out of here, got to talk about Team USA. Basketball, baby. You know I love basketball. As you can tell the way I spoke about the NBA Finals. And I appreciate you guys for continuing to be here with me as well. We saw Team USA versus Nigeria in the first round of the exhibition match leading up to the Tokyo Olympics. Team USA lost, y'all. 90-87. Team USA was 54-2 in exhibition matches leading up to Saturday's matchup. Now sitting at 54-3. Team USA just looked all out of sorts, man. Let me tell you guys, KD, you imagine with players like KD, Bradley Beal, Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, that's enough for you to win the game. But that was not so. Let me tell you guys, man, Kevin Durant didn't have a good game. 17 points. He was 4-13 from the field, 2 of 5 from the three-point line. Dame Dollar was 4-10 from the field. Now, granted, he was 50% from the three-point line, shooting 3 of 6. He only gave you 14 points. Bradley Beal, a no-show, only giving you 2 points. He was 1 of 7 from the field, 0 of 1 from the three-point line. Jason Tatum only giving you 15 points as he had 4 of 7 from the three-point line, 2 of 3. Let me tell you guys who went crazy, man. That boy Gabe Vincent from Nigeria. Excuse me. He was 6 of 8 from the three-point line, 6 of 9 from the field in total. Gave you 21 points. Just dog walking them. Nigeria as a team was 20 of 42 from the three-point line. I mean, they definitely got their shots up in comparison to the U.S., who only was 10 of 24, only shot 24 threes. We were definitely missing our A-team, missing players like Steph Curry, missing players not like Clay. Now, granted, I don't think this is the final form of this USA team yet. Remember Devin Booker, who's committed to play in Team USA, Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, who's committed to play Team USA, are still currently in the NBA Finals right now, so they are not going to be able to travel and practice with the team. Remember, prior to Saturday, Team USA only had 4 days of practice. So I don't think this is anything to panic over yet. I mean, no African team has ever beat a USA team up until Nigeria did. We have to remember this is the same team 20 years ago. We blew out by like 80 points, and even back when Kobe was playing and for Team USA, we blew this team out by like 43 points. So, the world is just catching up to us now. And it's okay. We really don't have the deck stacked as a USA team. We have some great players there, but not every player there would have made the first cut if certain other players decided to play, i.e. AD, i.e. LeBron, i.e. Steph, i.e. Clay. Players that can really give it to you. But Team USA is going to be fine. You got to remember, Coach Mike Brown is over there as the head coach of Nigeria. He's the assistant coach for the Golden State Warriors. Remember, he used to coach LeBron in the Cleveland Cavaliers. Mike Brown is a great coach. And it clearly showed with Nigeria as they played with heart. Coach Popovich went on to say, as you know, he's the head coach of Team USA, that this might be a blessing in disguise, which I think it might. It's going to make teams play harder. Remember the story of the Dream Team in which they brought in, college kids, Grant Hill, Chris Webber and them boys to come play the Dream Team, and they put a whooping on them. It took that whooping to wake them up for them to realize, okay, even though I'm Michael Jordan and you Charles Barkley and you Magic and you're Pat and you're Tim and you're David Robinson, we're going to have to play together. Even though we know we can kill these guys individually, we're going to have to play as a team because this is a team game. Individual play is not going to get us to where we're trying to go. And ultimately, Team USA, the 92 Dream Team, will go on to blow every team out of the water. I have faith that Team USA will be just fine and they're going to get everything clicking come the Olympics because KD is and will going to step up. And that's my show, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you guys for sticking around with your boy. Appreciate you guys for putting your eyes and ears onto this product, man. If you want to know where you can see more, of course, I'm on all social media platforms. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Look for Rob's 2 cents, man. Gonna have all of my usernames in the description below of this video. Also, remember, you can catch me on the Rewind Sports 60 channel, Roku channel. Rob's 2 cents, we are on the way. I appreciate you guys for being here. I hope you guys continue to have a great week. Remember to stay productive. Remember to set your achievable goals and set a plan to how you're going to get to these goals and how you're going to achieve these goals. And then you have to execute. Execution is the biggest key, you guys. I love you guys, man. Hope you guys continue to have a great one. And you already know the slogan, baby. We gone. There's a bigger fight going on. There's a much bigger agenda than the streets. And I know sometimes it's hard to see that far in front of us. But we have to look past the illusions. Look past the delusions of grandeur. And look at the bigger picture. We need to become better versions of ourselves each and every day. Fight for what you believe in. Because if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. We just getting started, baby. You guys know the slogan now. Hope you all have a great evening. And we gone.